What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. We got a little bit to talk about today, okay? So here we are at about $83,100. I swear, my last video we were at this exact same price. I did mention that we can go higher. That's nothing to get too excited about. Hell, we could have gone higher than that. We could go all the way up to 90K, you guys. It's nothing to get excited about until we start closing above 91,000. Why is that important? Why do I bring that up in every video? Because it's important. If we close above 91K, we're closing above this daily high close. We are closing back into this range here, and really closing 2 days is what we need to see, not just 1 day, not just like this. We need 2 days. But the most exciting, I think, would be probably at about 96.5K, right where we broke down from when it comes to this overall consolidation phase. We give that back. It's pretty hard to be bearish, or at least not accepting of this being the low. I am expecting we go lower. Let's not get wrong. I know we're talking about the upside, and it could happen, but I'm expecting that we go lower. Right? That's the expectation. If we go to 86K, 89K, 90K, even if we go up to 91K but reject there, it's just a lower high. It's a lower high in this overall range of lower highs here, right? I didn't draw that line the best. Let's try something like that. I can't draw straight lines, but you get what I'm saying, okay? It's nothing impressive really until we get multiple days to close above 91K, or even better, 96,500. Until then, we're bearishly postured, I think, to about, what was it? It's 74.1 to 69.2 thousand dollars. I believe the price is going to take us right to about 72 to 73K. For my own personal reasons. No, the reason why I think that that's going to happen is if we take this, was it this low to high? No, it's this low to high. We're likely, I think we're going to go to the 1886 because there's another chart, and I'm not going to show it here because I don't care to go over it again because I'm sure most of you are aware of it by now. Another chart that had a pattern that looked exactly like this, and it dropped exactly to the golden ratio, and then once it found support and it came up and then it came back down again, it went exactly to the 1886, which on this chart is at 74K. Oh no, it went to, I think it went to the 200 1886 level. It like went a little bit lower. That's what it was, a little bit lower. Or maybe I've got the wrong, let me see. What if it's different on the index? Sometimes Coinbase is different. I just want to make sure. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Okay, no, yeah. So it didn't go exactly to the 1886. It went just a little bit through that, right? And then we put on this high to low here. You've got your 1414 down there. I don't know, 72K, 73K. That's what I'm expecting that we do. Okay. If we go lower, cool. We could go to 69K, 68K. If we go higher, cool. We could find support at 74,500. But 72 to 73 is the target area. Maybe I'm off by a couple thousand, but so what? I still believe we're going down. I haven't seen enough evidence to change my directional heading. And I just, yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily want to talk about this. I guess I'll address this, right? For those of you who are getting a headache that I was bearish, I was bullish throughout all of this range over here, and then I flipped bearish here, and then I was bearish all the way throughout this range, and then I got bullish, then I got bullish here, right? I wasn't actually even bullish here. I was bullish over here, right? And then I got bearish down here. For anybody who's getting whiplash because I flipped from bullish to bearish to bullish right there, and then bullish to bearish again, right, over 3 times. These are short-term plays, right? I'm talking about the short term. I want to just address something real quick. It's important. It's very important. And I know some people, especially new investors, and I'm not trying to talk smack, I'm just trying to be serious here. For new investors, it's hard for people to understand. You think that you need absolute conviction in your short-term plays, right? I want to be very clear. For years now, for literally 2.5 years, I've been saying that I believe Bitcoin will see a top at 500,000 by the end of the cycle, and I haven't changed that position once. I've been saying October 2025, $500,000. I haven't changed that position once. I haven't had enough reasons to change that position. If we don't get moving soon, I might have some reasons to change that, but it takes a lot to change my long-term plays. Conviction is key, but it will kill you in this game, especially with the short-term plays. If you are too convicted, if you have blind faith because you see a target going this way and you ignore the data, which changes every single day, you're going to have problems. And then not only that, if you're ignorant or blind to the opposite effect of whatever you believe, when that happens, that's more likely to put you in an emotional state. And you do not make the best decisions financially when you're in an emotional state. You probably don't make a lot of well decisions when you're in an emotional state. I don't know, maybe you do, but I don't. I certainly don't. That's why I try not to trade or invest off of emotion. I really don't. And sometimes I do. Normally that doesn't work out. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. But I'm just saying, if anybody is getting a pretzel in their head, they're getting whiplash because of some changes in the dynamics of the short-term calls, that's how it is. On a daily aspect, you guys, the reason why I flipped bearish here, it looked like we were going to go down. The reason why I flipped bullish here is because it was a bull flag. This bull flag broke out to the downside, which, okay, fair, it did. So because it broke out to the downside, I'm fluid with the charts, I'm reading the charts, and I went bearish here. And here we are now, basically in this same area, right? I will remain bearish until I have reasons to believe that we're bullish. And right, if we do close above 84.8K, I want you to understand, guys, if we close today above $84.8 thousand, if we close 2 4-hour candles above $84.8 thousand, I will be short-term bullish. Maybe up to 89K, maybe up to 87K, 86K, maybe just to 91K, but I'm not bullish off of this low being the low, and then we go to new all-time highs until we close above 91K, right? Then we can talk about targets up there. But for right now, we're finding resistance here at prior areas of support, right? We had the opportunity here where we were finding support at prior areas of resistance here, had a bull flag, it looked good, and we screwed it up, right? And now volume's kicking into the downside. If you don't adjust your predictions with the charts, if you believe that blind faith is going to get you through this game, especially for short-term moves, you're going to get screwed, man. You're going to get left behind. And this is a saying that I've been saying a lot lately, is that you need to keep up or get left behind. Keep up or get passed up, right? And that's just how it is. Sometimes when Bitcoin's being volatile, your head might get in a pretzel, but you have to adapt to the data. Because if you just stick, and even though this was the wrong call, I didn't flip bullish over there. I feel like I flipped bullish more like over in this area. Because I was actually bearish still at the very top of that there, to be completely fair. I made a video like literally right there where I was bearish, and then I made a video here where I was bullish, and of course we went down. This is enough to take that bullishness away, because again, we broke out of the bull flag. I'm just trying to explain my thoughts. I'm not trying to defend anything, right? Like it's I don't care if I'm right or wrong. And so somebody said, and I don't think they were trying to be insulting, but they said it's harder for people to take you seriously when you're not convicted in your plays. I'm very convicted. I'm absolutely astonishingly convicted in my technical analysis. I'm very convicted in that, right? Technical analysis is not perfect. You are going to be wrong, right? And that's how it is. The TA can be right. It can suggest things, but the charts do their own things, and you have to adapt with that. If you think that somebody who's blindly convicted on faith alone is a good investor or a good trader for short-term plays, especially, that's not true. Like, see how that goes. Just see how that goes. You need to be fluid. And I'm not saying you need to follow somebody who's fluid. Do whatever you want. Follow whoever you want. Hit the like button while you're at it. Subscribe. I don't know. But do whatever you want. But good traders, the pros, they're fluid with the markets. That's why if you ever hear sophisticated trader talk or investor talk, they always talk about being fluid with the markets, fluid with the data. They might have convictions in their long-term plays, but that's because those long-term plays take a lot to change, right? There's a lot of data that's compiled to come up with these target areas, right? And until there's enough data, which takes a long time, to break a long-term target, you're going to have those convictions. And I think it is important to have convictions in your long-term plays, but the short-term stuff you have to be fluid in. Man, we spent way too much time talking about that. Let's just finish this video, okay? I didn't even want to talk about that because again, I knew it was going to go on too long, but I hope it's being received properly. I'm not trying to talk smack to anybody. I don't care about talking smack to you guys right now. I want you to just educate yourselves. I want you to be aware that being convicted in your short-term plays is like asking somebody to stand in the middle of the road at night without reflectors on, or maybe even lay down in the middle of the road and just lay there for an hour and trust that you don't get hit by a car. Have conviction in that. No. Short term, no, right? Long term, you can have conviction that you're gonna get hit. Short term, if you have conviction you're not gonna get hit, well, maybe you're right sometimes. Maybe for an hour if you're on the right road, maybe sometimes, but often or times enough. I don't know if that's the right analogy to use, but I guess that's the analogy that I'm using. I feel like it's a good analogy, but it's not good to have conviction in the long term stuff or the short term stuff. Okay. Long term, yes, it's good. But even then, even with the long term, even with the short term, no matter what, you have to be open to the idea that you're wrong. You have to, because technical analysis is not perfect. It's literally not. It's statistically based, right? It's probability based. It's likelihood based, which means likely at some point you're going to be wrong, okay? You're going to have hot streaks. You're going to have dry streaks. It's meant to give you an edge. It's meant to give you key buying and selling points. And the shorter term stuff, that's why it's harder, right? And for me, shorter term predictions are definitely harder than longer term predictions. I feel like my longer term TA is much better than my shorter term stuff, but that's because the short term data, that's why we talk about these videos every single day. It changes. But enough of that. Enough of that. Hit the like button if you're liking the video so far. Let's get into the actual meat of this here. Okay, on the 4-hour time frame, we're just chilling. You know, we're pretty neutral. We're ping-ponging between the 40 and the 60, not picking a direction. Every time that we reject the 60, it's an opportunity for the bears to take over. Every time we bounce off the 40, it's an opportunity for the bulls to take over. Nobody's taking this ball and running with it yet. I do assume that we are going to run to the downside. And it kind of almost... I guess we do have a straight line here. Yeah, okay, cool. I was going to say it almost looks like we're rolling over, but I don't think we are rolling over. That's not fair of me to say. So we do have a straight line. These diagonal lines don't hold up, guys. I'm sure a lot of people are who are beginning at trading, they're probably drawing their diagonal lines like this. Maybe they're coming up with, maybe see people saying, as long as we're holding this, it's fine. But if you notice, too, use your own seeing eyeballs with this, right? You bounced right off of this area. You went through it, of course, but you bounced right off that area there. Immediately. You bounce right off this area here immediately. What are you doing now? It's different. Different behavior, potentially, not always, but begets different results. Okay, and oftentimes it is 1, 2, you bounce off before anybody knows this trend line's formed, and then once everybody can see it, that's when you break through it. Don't be surprised if soon enough, probably by the time most of you watch this video, if we are below $82,000, right? I don't know how low we're going to get, but there's one more thing that I want to talk about, okay, besides just how low we're going to go. From a low to a high, I expect that we are going to go $74,500 to $71.8 thousand, if not $68,000, $69,000. Very possible target, okay? Very, very possible. Let's see here. And I also have a thought. Sorry, I had like a brain fart there. I also have a thought that whenever it comes to April 2nd, there might be some kind of significance on that day. Are you aware of what's going on April 2nd here? April 2nd, for everybody out there who might not be aware, is the day that the United States of America is going to place tariffs, reciprocated tariffs, on any country that's got tariffs on the U.S. or promoting fees or penalties or fines, some kind of form of payment where the American competitor, producer, has to pay a certain nominal amount of money, even if it's not classified as a tariff. If there's an unfair economic advantage, the United States of America is going to place tariffs on basically the whole damn world. Okay. That's what's going to happen, unless something changes. But I doubt people are going to change. I doubt people are taking Trump seriously on this one. But I think it's going to happen, man. Because as much as the media, and if you're paying attention, this is not political. This is not political. This is I guess it has political value to it, but it's like geopolitical and even economical is really what it is. That's why it pertains to the charts. Even if I didn't like Trump, I would be saying these same things, right? Because I have an open mind and I'm not ignorant to the data, right? A lot of people were saying that Trump was just bluffing with these tariffs here. That's why they never happened. That's what the mainstream media is saying. But that's not what happened at all. Trudeau and President, I forget her name, of Mexico, the President of Mexico and the Prime Minister at the time of Canada, they called him before the tariffs got put into place. They called him and they gave him, or they promised to give him what he wanted. They promised extra border security and plans to help out more with border security and stopping drugs coming across the border. Trump gave it a month to see if they would hold up to their bargain. He wasn't impressed. So whenever March 3rd came around, March 3rd was here. We had the Bitcoin crypto reserve being announced, and we pumped immensely, and then we dumped still because the tariffs got enacted, because Trump wasn't kidding. He enacted the tariffs there. And are they still active? Has he changed anything? Let's see. Let's see. Are there any, because I haven't even kept up with this. People get me confused sometimes. Are there any tariffs on Mexico? I think there are, and Canada right now, or maybe not on Mexico, but Canada right now. I know there are on China. Let's see. I'm pretty sure there still are. Yes, there are tariffs in effect. Yes. So anybody saying that he's just putting these tariffs on, that our government's putting the tariffs on and then taking them off, they're misinformed. They're misinformed, you guys. And anybody who's going to say that this is a bluff day, I have a feeling that just like this day here, right before the tariffs, even though it didn't come out, it wasn't a bluff. They just called and they seemingly gave him what he wanted, but he wasn't impressed. So tariffs are still on. Now, we have the third round of tariffs coming up, and it's going to be the whole damn world instead of just 3 countries that are getting tariffs. I can only assume that we're going to have some kind of massive dump ahead of time. It wouldn't surprise me, and think of it like this. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm painting a story here, and it could be wrong. Okay, but much like a diagonal trend line, you have 2 points of contact to base it from, right? 1 point here, 1 point here, and then, okay, look at that. Now you've got your third point here. It's oftentimes that third point that you don't do what you did the other 2 times. It's often that third point because by then everybody's aware of the dynamic. Everybody's aware of it. So wouldn't it be crazy? Wouldn't it be crazy if the first point of these tariffs, like if it was a diagonal line in our minds, it's not, but just like the anticipation of the tariffs, that was your first point. This was your second point. We have 2 data points that suggest a dump before the tariffs are enacted, right? Because again, the day the tariffs were supposed to be enacted, we actually moved up. The day that the tariffs were enacted here, we actually moved up. We dumped beforehand, right? And you can say we pumped for whatever reasons, but wouldn't it be ironic if here on data point number 3, like the diagonal line, if we did something different? What if this time people are more prepared? What if this time, even though it was public knowledge then, what if this time people are going to take Trump more seriously? At least the people who are educated, right? And whether you like him or not, I'm not saying if you like him you're educated, if you don't like him you're not educated. Then I'm getting political, right? I'm not being political. I'm saying if you're educated, you shouldn't care about what you think about this person. You should care as far as like do you like him or do you not like him? You should care about what you think in the form of, are you taking him seriously or not? And if you're not taking him seriously, you should really look at the data that's in front of us, right? There are being tariffs put in place, and he seems very serious about this. Now, I'm not saying that every country in the world is going to get tariffs, but it's going to be a larger amount of tariffs than what we've seen before, unless he feels like that's not necessary. But he seems pretty damn adamant about it. My thoughts are people are going to start taking this seriously. Instead of seeing a dump the day before, we might see a dump well before the tariffs come, and then perhaps we pump into the tariffs. Maybe we have a little volatility or something there, a little bit. But I think that the majority of the dump will already be priced in beforehand. If not, I mean, I don't know, man. I have a hard time seeing. I have a hard time seeing this event happen without some kind of dump beforehand or during, right? So if we move up, however high, we probably still will see some kind of dump around that time. But if we dump beforehand, because again, this is the third event of this coming, right? And it's going to be a much larger event. I would assume people are taking it more seriously. People at least who are aware of what's going on. And that might cause some predetermined price action, some front running of the negative news. And maybe it starts now. Maybe we move sideways a little bit and just kind of figure ourselves out, and then we drop more as the tariffs are coming up, right? And then we pump into the news for whatever reason, like we did last time. I don't know. It's just a thought. It's just a story. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's all I got for you guys. I do believe very clearly that Bitcoin is working its way down to 72 to 73K. I would need to see prices above 91,000 before I'm convinced that we're going higher. I would need to see prices above 96.5 thousand to be absolutely convinced that the low that we have now is the low. Until then, I'm of the suspicion that we are going lower, probably below 74K, at the lowest of 69K. That's all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode of C-Zar Loses His Shizzle, and I will see you on the next one. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.